Here's a question you may have never asked yourself. Why would someone leave the home he or she knew, travel across a wide rolling ocean, perhaps under uncomfortable or dangerous conditions, and move to an entirely new country? This is one question we have to think about if we're going to understand how the United States of America began and how it has become the country it is today, a nation made up of many different people from many different countries. The United States is sometimes called a country of immigrants. Immigrants are people who leave their home country to settle in a new country. You may have learned about some of the people who traveled from Europe to the New World. This was long before there was a country called the United States, but there were already people living in North, South, and Central America and on some of the islands in the Caribbean Sea. We use the term Native American to refer to those, like the Wampanoag and the Lakota Sioux, who were already living in North America before the Europeans arrived. Maybe you remember the Maya and Aztec people who lived in Mexico, or the Inca whose empire spread across Peru, Chile, and other lands in South America. To these groups, the places where they lived were not new at all, because their ancestors, the relatives who came before them, had lived there for centuries. Europeans traveled to the New World for many different reasons. For example, Christopher Columbus came looking for a shortcut from Europe to Asia. Spanish explorers such as Cortés came looking for wealth. Later, more people came from Europe that were not just explorers. Some wanted to bring their religion to people already living here. Some were poor men and women who thought there was a chance to make money to take back to their homeland, where they hoped to lead easier, more comfortable lives with their new wealth. Others were adventurers attracted to the excitement of a new place. The greater number of these travelers to North and South America did not actually want to settle in the Americas and make the New World their home for good. Instead, they wanted to return to their own home countries after gaining some wealth or making new discoveries. Much later, a group of people we call the Pilgrims were looking for a place where they could follow their own religion without being told what to believe by the King of England. Back in England, they were known as separatists, and they lived in fear of being arrested and thrown in jail for not having the same religious beliefs as their king. In order to meet together and practice their religion without fear, they decided to leave England behind. They hoped that there would be plenty of room in the New World in which to have the freedom to live and practice their religion in their own way. The Pilgrims were not the very first settlers in the New World, part of which we now call the United States. They were important, however, because they helped to set an example by doing something new and different. So what is an immigrant? An immigrant is someone who comes from another country to settle in a new place. Do you remember the question I asked you at the beginning of the lesson? Why might someone leave the home he or she knew and move to an entirely new country? Reasons why immigrants leave their homes and come to live in a new country are push and pull factors. Push factors are the problems in one's home country that would push you out of your country or make you leave. For many immigrants, money problems, trouble in their home government, and/or a lack of religious freedom have pushed people to immigrate or move to a new country. On the other hand, having more freedom and more job opportunities than are available to them in their homelands have pulled or encouraged people to immigrate to the United States of America. There are many freedoms, such as freedom of religion and freedom of speech, that are protected by the American government. These freedoms and other opportunities have attracted people to the United States. Although many immigrants come from different places and come for many different reasons, they all become part of the United States of America. Americans have come from many nations, and have brought many ways of thinking in order to form one nation that allows and encourages different beliefs among people. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, in Latin, is a good motto for the United States. Remember the coins I showed you? If you look on the back of any U.S. coin or on the back of a U.S. dollar bill, you can find this motto. Today's Americans are either immigrants themselves or they come from a long line of immigrants before them. This means that most Americans' ancestors were immigrants. In the days ahead, you will hear fascinating stories about some early immigrants. You will also learn more about the enormous risks people took to immigrate to the United States. You will learn about the many hardships or difficulties immigrants faced when they first arrived in their new country. As you will learn, it's a chance new immigrants are still taking today.